My grandmother never let my dad believe in Santa Claus. She didn't want to deal with the disappointment stage. But I remember being so excited on Christmas morning. I wanted my kids to believe. Now, the lengths I would go to suspend the belief for my kids was a bit of a sticking point for my husband. He wasn't really on board with the whole physical evidence part. The stuffing the stockings was fine. It was the ashy boot prints on the hearth from Santa, having landed in the fireplace. The cookie crumbs on the plate and the empty milk glass having nourished him on his journey. I even had, the little carrots nibbled by the reindeer that apparently also came down the chimney. I even had special wrapping paper just for the Santa gifts, because as our kids got past the toddler stage, our younger daughter, Lily, she was already starting to put things together.
Why does Mom and Santa have the same wrapping paper? Does Mrs. Claus shop at Costco too?
Oh, fuck. She was a deep thinker, Lily was. Like when she was 4, we accidentally bought a knocked up hamster, and 2 weeks later, 11 babies pop out.
How did that happen?
Well, the mommy has a part and the daddy has a part explanation was perfectly fine for our older daughter, but not Lily. Oh, no. She needed to know how the daddy part got to the mommy part. Seriously? Now I have to explain hamster sex to my 4-year-old? I skipped that chapter in the parenting manual on purpose. No, yeah. In the world of make-believe, I like to have a little physical evidence, and it kind of amps up the experience, When we were in Indonesia, our older daughter, Phoebe, she was about 7, and she lost a tooth.
Does the tooth fairy come over here too, Mom?
Sure. Why wouldn't she? The tooth fairy that serves children all over the world every night, losing their teeth all over the globe. Sure, she'll be here. Jesus Christ, she's busier than Santa. So that night, I find her tooth under her pillow. Oh, and a note.
Dear Tooth Fairy,
if you make it over here, because clearly she'd be flying there from the United States.
If you make it over here, I already have plenty of American money. Please leave local currency. Thanks,
Phoebe. Local currency. Well, it would be pretty neat if in Indonesia, the tooth fairy was Indonesian. So I thought, well, all right. So I'm searching around the hotel room looking for something written in the local language. And in the bathroom, I find a sign, and it's translated, if you want to save water and you don't need your towels laundered, hang them up, right? Perfect. So on the back of her note, in the most gorgeous, teeny tiny little cursive you've ever seen, Dear Phoebe, something about towels, love the tooth fairy. And along the bottom, I put a little smear of sparkly lip gloss just for good measure. That and a 5,000 rupiah bill, which has a beautiful Indonesian princess on it. It was perfect tooth money, worth about 53 cents US. So I fold that up, and I fold up the note, and I put it back under her head. My husband was horrified. He said, that is taking the lie to a whole new level. Personally, I think he was a little concerned at how good I was at this whole deception thing. No. Some years later, in 5th grade, Phoebe was on the playground, and this was just after Thanksgiving, and she was talking about something very excitedly about something she'd gotten in her Easter basket back in the spring. Some 5th grade boys heard her and were like, don't you know your parents are the Easter bunny? Seriously? Is it the job of every 5th grade boy to just dash the hopes of the innocent? Right? So that day after school, it started. Out of nowhere, I'm folding laundry, and she's, Mom, are you and Dad the Easter bunny? Now, little did I know, she'd already gone to her father and asked. He confessed to everything, probably so excited to be at this point in our lives. But Dad was usually full of crap, so she had to come find me. Find out the truth. Mom, are you and Dad the Easter bunny? God, she was getting older. I should probably, yes, honey. Yeah, we are the Easter bunny. Yeah, her little eyes started to well up and her chin started to tremble. Well, what about the tooth fairy? Oh, God, she was really starting to put it all together, and this was getting pretty awkward considering how all in I'd gone on that one. I didn't know what to say. I just looked down in my laundry basket, plotting my next move, and my silence was all she needed. The next request came in a tiny, halted voice. And, Santa? Tell me the truth! Now, this was 2 weeks before Christmas. Santa had already done his Christmas shopping with his special paper, and for the record, honey, I still believe in Santa Claus, I said, like scrambling at some sort of common ground to salvage her childhood. Why did she have to add that part about telling the truth? I could have made up some bullshit to get us through to January. God damn it. Dad already told me you were Santa. Oh, great. Well, so much for United Front. Thanks for throwing me under the bus there, honey. Phoebe dropped to her tiny little knees, her arms outstretched to the heavens, her voice filled with the anguish of 1,000 tortured souls. My whole life is a lie! How am I going to fix this? This right here, this is what Grandma was talking about. Phoebe's anguish poured out of our backyard at a volume that would surely have child services at our door any second. And thinking fast, Phoebe, Lily doesn't know yet. Well, this snapped her out of it a little bit because she adored her little sister. Lily doesn't know. Can we maybe keep this going for her? Well, now this would put Phoebe on Team Magic. And that made her pretty happy. Whew, take that, Grandma. A few years later, in a cruel twist of fate, Phoebe accidentally outed Santa to her little sister. She showed her a comic that had the spoiler in it, and by this time, Lily was in middle school, and Phoebe probably figured some fifth grade boys had dashed her hopes years before, as is customary in American culture. But, apparently no such event had happened for Lily, and so her moment of truth came very privately reading that comic. And being a little older, she said she just felt so stupid. Just a guy flying through the sky in a sleigh with presents down chimneys. What the hell? Of course. But she'd never really broken it down or given it much thought until that moment. And the part about Santa didn't bother her so much, but it did make her sad to think that maybe magic wasn't real, and that growing up meant less fun. But life is what you make it, and imagination and fun and whimsy, that doesn't have to go away, and it shouldn't. Because the minute you lose sight of that, that's what makes you old, no matter what age you are. Magic is all around us, all the time. We just have to see it and suppress our inner grandma.